All right, well, hello everyone. Happy Thursday. It's digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast, wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Thursday afternoon here. Now let's begin this afternoon in DeKalb County, where today the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division launched an investigation into the city of Rainsville to determine whether the city violated Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act, and the Fair Housing Act. Now, this comes after receiving a complaint alleging that the city denied a Christian recovery organization the ability to establish a Christian discipleship program motivated by a desire to keep away, quote, drug addicts. The program was intended to rehabilitate men with drug and alcohol dependency and other life-controlling problems. That program was allegedly denied by the city of Rainsville, which sparked the investigation. 48's Will Eldridge will be bringing us more on this ongoing investigation coming up in our evening newscast, so make sure to stick around. But now moving out to Decatur, where the mother of a man who died while in custody after being arrested earlier this year is filing a lawsuit against authorities. Now, John Scott Jr. was arrested during a mental health crisis by Decatur police back in April of this year. Surveillance video that you're seeing on screen from the Morgan County Jail shows law enforcement officers dragging Scott through the facility to the holding cell. Scott later fell into a coma and died days later. Now, Scott's mother is filing a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Decatur, as well as the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, multiple officers, and the city of Priceville. The lawsuit claims officers used excessive force on Scott, including punching, kicking, and even tasing him. It also claims his civil rights were violated. 48's Callie Neese will have more details on this lawsuit coming up in our evening newscasts. And of course, speaking of lawsuits, now moving out to the Shoals, where a federal lawsuit has been filed against the town of Killen, its police chief, and a former police officer who pled guilty to civil rights violations and child sexual exploitation. A woman who was pulled over, handcuffed, and forced to perform sex acts on former officer Jared Webster filed the lawsuit. Webster pleaded guilty to federal charges back in March. The lawsuit filed by a Jane Doe details how she was pulled over by Webster while on her way home to Meridianville. She says Webster turned off his body cam, put her in handcuffs, and in the back seat of a patrol car where he threatened her with criminal charges unless she engaged in sex acts. Her lawsuit alleges Webster engaged in other similar predatory schemes and that the town of Killen was aware. She says her constitutional rights were violated and she suffered permanent injuries, mental anguish, and lost wages. And of course, 48's Aria Pons will have more on this coming up in our evening newscasts. But now, let's talk about the weather, rain or shine. 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis has us covered. Brad?
Well, good afternoon on this Thursday on this short work week. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning as of 3:11 this afternoon. No reports of damage yet. Just moved right over the city of Fayetteville. Very heavy rain, probably some smaller hail, and there's a potential for some damaging wind gusts. Here's a closer look at these thunderstorms. They're pretty much stopping at the state line. We've also got this outflow boundary up here, this gust of wind coming down. That is likely going to lead to some gusty winds north of Hazel Green. It could contribute to additional showers and thunderstorms. As you see on the latest view here, this thunderstorm's cycling through. That means it gets a little bit more intense every now and then, so we'll have to watch it in the intense moments. Tomorrow, a few isolated thunderstorms pretty much in the same areas, but as we get into Saturday, particularly 5 a.m., this is Saturday morning, gaining confidence in a morning round of showers and storms. Ahead of this cold front, we should start to clear out by 2 in the afternoon. Still a few thunderstorms ahead of the main front, I think, as we get into far northeast Alabama as we approach, say, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. But your Saturday evening looks dry, looks good. We'll continue to monitor that. And as we go into Sunday, that looks fantastic. So here is your 3-day forecast. 94, a hot one tomorrow. 84 Saturday, a few morning showers and storms, and then 79, much less humidity out there for Sunday. Overall, looking good to finish Saturday and all day Sunday.
Well, all right, good deal. And y'all don't forget, First Alert Weather Extra tonight at 9:30. You can watch it wherever you're watching Before the 4 this afternoon, whether that's on Facebook, YouTube, or of course our website, the 48 Now live stream. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis, he'll be back here in the 48 Now Center. He'll have all the latest he is seeing on the radar. And also, don't forget, tonight at 6, our 6 o'clock newscast will be streamed right here on our digital platforms as Thursday Night Football, the NFL kickoff is happening tonight. The Cowboys facing off against the Eagles. NBC will be covering that game, and that will be what's happening at 6 on our air. So our 6 o'clock newscast is going to be streamed right here wherever you're watching Before the 4 this afternoon. But you're just not going to want to miss it. But now we're going to head to break, but coming up, going through a few stories in case you missed them. A Madison County judge threatened by a Huntsville man. The lease not getting renewed for a youth racing track here in Huntsville. And the latest on the water issues in Ardmore. It's all ahead. I'll be right back in 1 minute. All right, well, hello everyone and welcome back to Before the 4. Now with the story, in case you missed it, a Huntsville man accused of threatening to kill a Madison County judge is behind bars. 48's Nick Ballinger with the details.
The almighty judge's gavel not only comes with power, but it also comes with certain protections when a federal crime is broken. That became apparent after prosecutors say this man, Cyrus Batchelder, threatened to kill a Madison County Circuit judge and is now charged with making terroristic threats.
You would think with the amount of volume that we have and the work that our judges do that it would be more common, but it happens, and when it does, we take it very seriously.
Prosecutors say this was just one of many social media posts Batchelder made after Judge Claude Hundley ruled against him in a custody case. It reads, quote, Judge Huntley of Madison County, dead. The first day of the year, January, you will all be dead. Former District Court Judge Martha Lynn Sherrod knows the dangers that come with the profession.
You know, I started back at the municipal court here as a judge back in 1997. These threats pose such a threat to the independence of the judiciary. We cannot ignore them because, as you know, in and around America today, there's no sanctuary for you.
Sherrod says cases involving parental custody were often more heated than criminal cases.
They were always so polite. They wanted to protect you as well as to impress you. But if you got two people that wanted to get a divorce and they each were seeking custody of the children, not only did they want to harm each other, but they wanted to harm you too.
She sat on the bench for over 15 years.
Security became an increasing problem through the years.
Sherrod says there were no metal detectors when she started. Instead, they simply stapled phone books to the inside of the bench to hopefully stop bullets. So as protections for judges evolve, the consequences and felony charges stay the same.
And staying in Huntsville, a youth racing track now in jeopardy after Madison County leaders failed to approve the leash renewal to keep the track. 48's Callie Nee spoke with parents who say they're very upset. Let's take a look.
Cam Winterburn is the vice president of the Huntsville Quarter Midget Association. He said he grew up racing and he raised his kids racing right here at the Speedway in Huntsville. And he feels like the racetrack is getting ripped from under him. Winterburn told me Madison County leaders have decided to not renew the HQMA's lease, adding he doesn't really know why.
It would be devastating to us. I mean, this is kind of what our family does, and a lot of other families as well.
The track is on land in County Commissioner Phil Riddick's district. When I took Winterburn's questions and concerns to Riddick, he told me county leaders didn't renew the lease because they plan on selling or trading the land that the track sits on, adding that the land butts up to property owned by the city of Huntsville. He also told me there has been issues with rent being paid in the past, though that has been rectified. Riddick told me county leaders do feel bad, but it's time to move forward.
Yeah, we're extremely, sorry for all this. I mean, I'm not unsympathetic to the situation over there. We've had quite a long time of back and forth and negotiation on this. It basically didn't come to anything. So we've got to move on.
HQMA was given until the end of the year to vacate the property, but Winterburn told me he's not sure where they're going to go once the track in Huntsville is gone.
It's not a viable option on a weekly basis to travel, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to some of these other locations. I don't know what that would mean to all of these members in this area.
Some members of the HQMA have started a change.org petition. You can find that on our website, WAFF.com. Reporting in Huntsville, Cali News 48 News on your side.
And now let's talk about the Ardmore water situation in case you missed it. The boil order is now lifted in the city of Ardmore, and it seems the majority of the water issues are now resolved. 48's Noah Cowell with the full story on the situation. Let's take a look.
The worst of the troubles here in Ardmore are over. The water pressure is back to normal, but several businesses, they're still closed while the boil order is in effect and they're losing money, while others have stayed open and are fighting through this shortage. On Sunday, Ardmore Water Department was cut off from Limestone County after their water authority says Ardmore took too much water from them. Some businesses had low pressure water. Others, like Elk River Nursing Home, says they didn't have water at all. They say they bought 300 gallons of water for just the toilets alone, and gallons of drinking water came from the city. Some employees say they worked through the night to make sure the residents were okay.
There was very little inconvenience for them. It was more a big inconvenience for the staff because they had to do a lot of extra work, which they did a great job.
They stayed open, but other businesses in town.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry, but we're having water issues, so we're closed for the time being.
JJ Coffee's owner, Jamie Jordan, says she's tired of these recurring woes. A similar thing happened in 2023 where she had to close her business for 11 days. She says this doesn't just cost her thousands of dollars a day. These issues create long-lasting negative perceptions.
That directly affects your businesses, not just me, but the other restaurants in town. And I understand that, but I can't compete with that. I cannot combat negative views on the water department.
Another concerned resident says the department needs to find better ways to communicate citywide than just going through Facebook.
We love this place, and we just want people to be able to enjoy their time here and us to know what's going on.
Ardmore Water Department tells me the boil water advisory is expected to end tomorrow afternoon. They also say they are in the process of drilling other wells in hopes that this won't happen again. Reporting in Ardmore, Noah Cowell, 48 News on your side.
And of course today, Noah will be further following up on this situation coming up tonight now that that boil order is now officially lifted and it is over. So make sure to stick around for our evening newscast for an update on that situation. And y'all, I said it yesterday, we'd have Facebook fun today, but we are cutting it close to our 4 o'clock newscast. So I am going to have to end it right now, but our 48 Facebook question today was, what was your first car? Y'all, there is still time to leave a comment. What was your first car? Mine, of course, was a Mazda RX-8, of course. It did not last very long, but there's still time to comment on our Facebook page right now, and I will shout you out tomorrow for our Facebook fun. Of course, tomorrow's Before the 4th starts at 3:40, but y'all, I gotta let y'all go. But of course, as always, thank you for tuning in to Before the Four this afternoon. Enjoy tonight's evening newscast, and as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.